Think about two people who earn almost the same amount of money, the same kind of job, the same city, a paycheck landing on the same day of the month. One of them checks their balance before buying a coffee and feels a small knot of fear whenever a bill comes in. The other barely thinks about money at all. They earn the same amount, and yet they are living in two completely different worlds. We usually explain that gap with one word: money. One of them must earn more, spend less, or just handle it better. But that is not where the difference lives. The difference between feeling broke and feeling stable is not always how much you make. Sometimes it is how far ahead you are. You have probably been told the answer is to earn more, budget harder, cut the small stuff, and you are probably still feeling the same pressure at the end of the month. So let's look at the real reason people stay stuck living paycheck to paycheck, not the one you have been sold, the one underneath it. When people feel that pressure, most reach for the same conclusion. I just need to earn more. It feels obvious. More money coming in should mean more room to breathe, so you chase a raise or a better job or some side income, and maybe it works for a while. Then a few months later, the breathing room is gone again. You're earning more than ever, and you still feel one bad week away from trouble. If that has happened to you, you are not careless. You are watching the real problem hide behind a bigger number. Because living paycheck to paycheck is not only a low-income problem. In a 2025 Goldman Sachs survey, around 40% of working Americans said they live paycheck to paycheck. That does not mean everyone faces the same kind of pressure. A high earner feeling stretched is not the same as someone who cannot cover rent, and I want to be honest about that gap. At the low end, the pressure is brutal and real, and it is not a personal failing. But across the whole range, more income on its own does not automatically create stability, because two people on the exact same paycheck can live in completely different worlds. One has distance. The other is always a few days from the next thing that is due. So if earning more is not the only lever, what happens to all that money the second it lands? On payday, your paycheck lands. For one short moment, it is just sitting there, looking available. But most of it is already spoken for. The second it arrives, it starts marching straight back out. Rent, food, the phone bill, the minimum payment, transport, every dollar already has somewhere to be before it reaches you. So you are not really deciding what to do with your money. You are just trying to keep up with where it was already going. I call this the lockstep trap. Your income and your expenses march in perfect step. Money comes in, money goes out, on the same beat, every cycle. Because they move together, the gap between them never grows. That is the trap. Not simply that money is tight, but that you have no distance between the moment money arrives and the moment it has to leave. And this is why it matters more than any budgeting tip. You can use an app, color code every category, name every dollar. That can really help. But notice what it does. It arranges the march more neatly. It does not break it. The money still leaves on the same beat. So if organizing it better is not the way out, what is this trap really costing you? When you live in lockstep, the real damage is not in your bank balance. It is in what every small problem turns into. Your phone screen cracks. For someone with a little distance, that is an annoying afternoon and a payment. For someone in lockstep, it is something else. A broken phone is not a broken phone. It is a late payment on something else. The late payment becomes a fee. The fee becomes a decision about which bill you let slip next. That is the quiet cost, not one big disaster. A constant, low-level emergency where every surprise pushes something else off the table. This is why so many people feel exhausted by money, even when nothing dramatic is happening. In lockstep, you stop asking, "Can I afford this?" You start asking, which bill can survive being late? That question runs in the background all day. It is the tax you pay for having zero room. And it's common. A recent Bankrate survey found that fewer than half of Americans had enough liquidity or access to funds to cover a surprise $1,000 expense. For everyone else, one car repair or medical bill can mean debt, borrowing, or something else getting cut. Not because they are reckless, because there is no distance to absorb the hit. The good news is this can start to change before your income does. And the first move is not about earning more, it is about getting a little ahead. Before you can break the march, you need one number, not your rent, not your biggest bill, the real cost of getting through one normal month. Housing, food, transport, the subscriptions you forget, the small things that always show up. Look at the last 2 or 3 months and find the honest figure. Let's say it is $1,250 a month. Everything from here is built around that number. The first move is smaller than you expect. Not 6 months of expenses, just a small buffer. Enough that a cracked phone or a flat tire stops turning into debt. That little cushion is the first crack in the lockstep. On its own, it will not set you free, but it stops the bleeding and buys you room for the real move. The second move is the one that actually breaks it. Right now, your April paycheck pays for April. The money arrives, and it is immediately spent on the month you are already in. So April is chasing you from the second you get paid. The goal is to slowly build that $1,250 off to the side. Not overnight, just a slow, steady pile until one day you are holding a full month of expenses that is not promised to anything. And on that day, something quiet and huge happens. Your April paycheck is no longer paying for April. It is paying for May. April is handled before April even begins. You are spending money you earned last month, not money that just landed. The march is still happening, but now you are one full step ahead of it instead of trapped inside it. That is what one cycle ahead means. You finally have distance. So how do you build that first $1,250 when things are already tight? There is no system that creates a surplus out of nothing. And it does not happen by living miserably forever, because that version never works. It is about creating one temporary stretch where a small part of your income stops serving the present so it can start protecting your future. A few ways, none of them required. A small automatic amount pulled aside every payday before you can touch it. A one-time windfall, a tax refund or a bonus, a short deliberate stretch where you trim a few specific costs with an end date, or selling something you own that is just sitting there. The point is that the distance gets built once. After that, you protect it. If life uses part of it, you rebuild it. And when your paycheck arrives, you reserve it for the month ahead before the current month has a chance to absorb it. The distance stops depending on willpower. So what does life feel like once you are one step ahead? Being a month ahead will not make you rich. It will not change your income or your job title, but it changes the role money plays in your life. Your paycheck stops being emergency oxygen, the thing you need just to survive the next few weeks. It becomes money with time behind it. For the first time, your money is no longer marching straight out of your life the second it lands. And the fear changes. A surprise stops being a threat. The cracked phone is just a cracked phone again. A problem can be annoying without becoming a disaster. Income gives you capacity. Distance turns that capacity into stability. The space between getting paid and needing that money matters more than almost anyone tells you. If you keep one idea from all of this, make it this one. The goal was never to have a pile of money sitting around for no reason. The goal was to buy distance, because distance is what turns money from something you chase into something that quietly starts protecting you. So tell me in the comments, are you still in lockstep or have you started building distance? And once you have that distance, your money can finally stay invested long enough to compound. Watch this next. I'll see you there.